Right, going on a similar kind of ilk. Dialante, so the South African winger, has been given a 4-year ban.
Is there
for
any
doping.
reason why you haven't announced his full name there?
It's just got his second name there. Oh dear.
Yeah, so this is the winger that was banned. Did not play at the World Cup.
Correct. Yep. So he didn't play. He was the breakthrough player of the year in 2018.
Well, now we know why.
Exactly. That's right. Been juicing. He pleaded guilty, so he knew he'd done it. Didn't come to the World Cup 2019, and then end of 2020. So over a year later, has been banned for 4 years. Do you think the World Rugby has sort of prolonged it to then go, we'll give you a 4-year ban, so then there's no chance that he can play in the Rugby World Cup?
I find it really weird that if he's pleaded guilty, why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
Is it because of COVID? Everyone just blames COVID for everything, but
could be.
Have they let it roll on so that they can give him a 4-year ban rather than giving him a life ban, and then people won't really, blink an eye?
But he, like you said, he's a winger.
Yeah, his
South Africa,
his shelf life is very, very short, isn't it?
They've got plenty stacking up. I mean, Mapimpi, Colby.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that replaced him and
done a great job.
Pretty good.
Mapimpi, especially. Well, I mean, both them, Colby and Mapimpi, and there's a whole host of others.
How many more do you think are doping, if any, in South Africa or worldwide?
I don't want to get on the South African kind of note because we'll get a whole load of messages from all parts of the world. I mean, it has been mentioned that it's quite a problem in South Africa, but I think that's naive to think it's not a problem elsewhere.
Because there was that Schoolboy problem, wasn't there?
Yeah, I actually think there's more of an issue at Schoolboy level than there is actually.
Because they don't get tested, do they? I don't think it's Schoolboy level.
Craven Week. So Craven Weekend is the big, where a lot of these schools come together.
Right.
They play. Is it schools or is it like, the academies or whatever?
Right.
But they get tested in and around that.
Okay.
And in like New Zealand, you do get tested at Schoolboy level as well, just not very readily.
Because they get more crowds than Super Rugby.
Well, yeah, I mean,
nearly
big crowds. So I would like to think it's not a problem, but I think it probably is a problem. And I imagine now it's more of a problem actually trying to get, if you are thinking about being a New Zealander and wanting to break into a Super Rugby team, that's when you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Once you're in that team, it's harder to get out than it is to get in. So all of these, young guys at the age of, 18, 19, 20, if they want to compete at that level, that's when it's probably the most prevalent, I would say. Once you've broken in and you've established yourself, then there probably isn't the need. I mean, I would say in all of my time playing at a good level, semi-professional stuff, I was only tested once. So you can see how to get to that level, you don't get tested very often. Once you're at that level, you do get tested relatively often. Yeah. So the risks versus rewards is probably quite high, I'd say lower down. I hope it's not a problem, but I think it is. And do I think South Africa have more of a problem than anyone else? Possibly. But
that we know of because the media have got their noses stuck in.
But I think there is a problem in Wales that's been documented. And I think we're very naive to think there isn't.
Is that why they're not very good at the moment? Because they've stopped taking?
Maybe, mate. I'm sure in Russia...
God! They just drink vodka.
Russian national team, I'm sure, have had a few cups of juice in their time. That's all I've got to say on that. Mate, Aaron Smith.
Yeah, class.
Missing out on the team of the decade at 9.
I know.
So I don't want to go through the.
Conrad Murray's got in there before.
I don't want to go through the team of the decade and with too much detail. Partly because I can't pronounce some of the names. but what I would say is the interesting ones were this: Ben Smith at fullback, no problem with that.
Yeah.
George North, I think
interesting.
I think he's been a great player, but I think he's been declining over the last 2 to 3 years.
I think he's been a good player, not a great player.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Brian O'Driscoll, can't argue with that. Marnono, of course. Brian Habana, can't argue with that. Dan Carter. And then it went Conrad Murray. Conrad Murray? I mean, seriously? He's a good halfback.
He's not a great halfback.
But, Aaron Smith has, in my opinion, has been the world's best scrum half, barring possibly
last year at the World Cup. So you take away that, and even this year, we're going to go into that as well, but he's been absolutely fantastic. The other one that I thought was quite interesting was Sam Whitelock and Brodie Retallick. Yeah.
Taking those lock berths. But other than that, I mean, and the other one, Sergio Parise. I mean, that's just literally kind of, we'll give the Italians one.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But very interesting. World Rugby at their very, very best. What is very interesting is you look at where they all come from. So we've got New Zealand, Wales, Ireland, South Africa.
Italy, Australia.
And Italy. Is there any English?
No.
None.
Oh,
no English.
Thank the Lord.
Is there any Scottish? No.
No.
Now, people might look at that and think that's bad.
There's no French either.
No Frenchies, all right? Have a look at the women's team of the decade.
England, New Zealand, England, New Zealand.
And
England, New Zealand, England, France.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've got one for you, one for me. One for you, one for me.
So basically the women's team is made up of all New Zealand and England players, and right at the end, whoever did this, that we can't have all of them,
I've already written them all down. We've got one left.
French. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think, arguably, who would you put in from that England side? Because this is a team from the decade. Is there anyone you'd put in over? And I don't think there is.
Well, not ones that have spanned
the full decade
of that decade.
Because you arguably could say, Farrell, but who you gonna take Dan Carter out? You're going to take Brian O'Driscoll out? No, you're not. So, and that's their problem. You know, they've got a lot of good players who are young at the moment, and maybe in a decade's time or maybe 5 years' time, they would be in the team of the decade. But as it currently stands now, it's not quite there. David Pocock, I don't have an issue with David Pocock being at 6, but people have sort of said, what about Artie Severa? I think no. That's ridiculous.
No, I think you could.
Could
put. God, what's his name? Current number 7.
Kane.
No, for Australia.
Hooper. Yeah, Hooper.
How did I forget him?
But Hooper at 7 or Richie McCaw.
Yeah, but Pocock was a better 7 than a 6, wasn't he?
No, he was a 6 and an 8.
Well, he's a better 8.
Yeah, well then Sergey. That's true. Yeah, that is true. I mean, you can't knock Sergey, but, he's not.
I've just seen here. Where has it gone? Oh, what about Conrad Smith?
Yeah, Conrad. But you can't argue with Brian O'Driscoll, can you?
And it says Jonathan Davies as 2 worthy replacements.
Yeah, Jonathan Davies is a quality player. But again, I would say Jonathan Davies, if you went 5 years on and he has a good next 5 years, then you could say that. But, for the first 5 years, he hasn't really featured because he's still young.
Yeah. So it says here, meanwhile, many would argue former Italy captain Parise selection at number 8 is validated due to his longevity and excellence over the years.
Not Kieran Reid.
But others were insistent that ex-All Black skipper Kieran Reid should have been picked instead.
100%. Kieran Reid, well over.
What about Billy?
Yeah, Billy's not a bad shout, but Billy's gone up and down in his performances for quite a while. And you look at Kieran Reid, and you'd say for the last 10 years he's been a standout.
Pretty consistent.
Yeah, and arguably he's changed his game. I've said arguably a lot, but he's changed his game from being quite a rangy, running offloader to someone who puts his head in dark places.
Yeah, ball carrier.
So there you go, mate. But over to you for your next story.